Hey guys, happy Wednesday to you. Today I want to talk about choices and consequences to those choices. And I'm going to start off with one of my favorite quotes. You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequence of your choice. I also want you to think about before you act, make sure that you are prepared for the consequences that could follow. You see, guys, everything in your life and in my life is a reflection of a choice that we make, good or bad. If you want a different result, then you have to make a different choice. I want you to think about today the way that you treat others in your class and those around you. I think back to when I was in junior high school. I had two very best friends, so there was three of us. Sometimes we all three got along great, and we were best friends, and we could stay together, and no one felt left out. And then other times, I could come to school, and those two weren't talking to me, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what I had done. I could tell they were talking about me behind my back, and you know what? It hurt. It hurt me. And then, if I want to be completely honest with you guys, which I'm going to be, there would be weeks where me and one of them would be really tight and leave that other person out. And guess what? That hurt that other person. I want you to ask yourselves when you think about your actions and how you treat others, what you're saying behind people's backs, how you're saying things to them, what your body language is telling people, what your actions are telling people. I want you to think about the consequences to those behaviors. I want you to think about, is one of the consequences you losing a friend, you losing trust? Is your consequence you hurting somebody else, and how does that make you feel? So that's the first thing that I want you guys to think about, is how you treat people and the actions. Maybe you get reported and you get into trouble for this stuff. Maybe somebody views it as being bullied even though you don't. Somebody else could. So I want you to stop and think about those consequences. Then I want you to start thinking about other choices that you are making. 8th graders, you are on the brink of being a high school student. And 7th graders, you are on the brink of being an 8th grader. So these are some things that you need to think about, and these are things that I'm hearing as concerns in our school, from adults and from students. The first thing is sending nudes on your phones to one another, whether it's on Snapchat, whether it's through texting, however you're sending it. I need you guys to know that this isn't okay. When you send a nude, I want you to think about this. Would you be okay walking down the hallways naked with everyone looking at you? Because I wouldn't be. When you send nudes, you're not guaranteeing that just one person is seeing them. There's a consequence there. Right? Because that one person could share it with another person, who could share it with another person, who could share it with 15 people. And pretty soon, it's like you're walking down the hallway naked. I want you to think about that. The second consequence that I need you to think about with this is a federal offense. For anybody who has pictures of naked people under the age of 18 on their phone, that's child pornography. And that is a federal offense, and you can get into legal trouble with it. So I need you guys to think about these things before you ask somebody to send a nude and before you send a nude. Okay? The next thing is alcohol and drugs and tobacco. These are big things in our school, I believe. I hear it from kids all the time that these are big things. There are so many consequences that go with these. Not just 6 weeks and getting in trouble from your parents, but there are consequences down the line. I talked with the high school students in their video, because I did separate ones today, about my grandpa choosing to smoke. And he chose to smoke his whole entire life. He didn't get in trouble. His parents didn't get mad at him. But when he was about 65, there was a natural consequence, and he got lung cancer. I sometimes wonder if he would have known that when he started smoking, if he would have stopped. If he would have stopped and thought about what could happen, would he maybe not have smoked? And I want you to think about that, because you're at that age where maybe you're trying it. Your future, think about it. Do you want to end your life with chemo treatments and radiation and losing your hair and having to say goodbye to your loved ones? Think about those consequences that happen in your future. My husband chose to start chewing in high school. And today, if you asked him, he would say, I wish I never would have started, because once he decided to quit, it was one of the hardest things that he ever had to do. And still today, he has to decide every day, no, I'm not going to do it. But addiction takes over. And I truly believe that if he would have known that at 16 or 17, whenever he started and shouldn't have, I don't think he would have started. So I want you to think about where these choices, vaping, all of that, where could that lead you in your life? Not just today and tomorrow, but where could that lead you down your life? Because I guarantee you 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 is not going to seem old once you get there. Trust me, I used to think it was. The last thing is not trying in school. 8th grade, you guys are going to, next year as freshmen, guess what? It starts counting as credits for graduating. And if you don't pass that class, you have to retake it. So habits that you're building today in junior high help you as 8th grade, or as 9th grade, sorry. It sets you up for a $6,000 scholarship if you can get C's and above in your classes. $6,000 just for trying in school. Those are consequences. If you get to 9th grade and you don't try and you fail or you get D's in classes, that automatically takes you out of the running for that scholarship. If you fail classes, maybe you get less electives as a junior because you have to go back and retake core classes. Those are natural consequences. So I want you to think about those things right now as 7th and 8th graders. I also want you to think about this quote. If you have to sneak to do it, lie to cover it up, or delete it to avoid being seen, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know that sick feeling you get in your stomach when you know you're doing something you shouldn't do it? I wonder why we don't listen to that feeling. Why do we sometimes push that feeling away and go forward with decisions that we're making? Some questions that I want you guys to think about today is, where do you go from here? Where do you go when you think about consequences that are short-term and long-term to choices that you're making? If you're making choices because you're hurting inside, who can you get help from? If you don't feel comfortable with me, I can certainly line you up with people that you do feel comfortable with. Are you hanging around people who are making you a better person and who are moving you towards the goals of your future? If not, maybe you need to make some changes in friends. Are you using alcohol, tobacco, or drugs to feel good because you don't feel good about something else? These are questions that I need you guys to think about right now, because you can choose your behavior and you can choose your choices, but you can't always choose the consequences. Think about these things, because I care about each and every one of you, and I want you to make the right choices, and I want you to have a great life. So think about that and have a great day.